Meidas Touch Media explains that media can defeat Trump. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. What an amazing time we live in. One of the founders of the progressive next-gen superPAC, Meidas Touch, which has produced just some extraordinary videos. It's run by three brothers who are living in quarantine. Meidas Touch, M-E-I-D-A-S, touch.com is the website and also the Twitter handle. Brent Meiselas is on the line with us. And Brent, number one, thanks and congratulations on your great videos. And number two, you've got a show coming up here on SiriusXM. We're, of course, on SiriusXM right now on SiriusXM Progress. Tell us about your videos, what inspired that, and tell us about your new show.
Hey, Tom, first of all, big fan. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk to you about Meidas Touch Radio coming this weekend on SiriusXM. Yes, I mean, like you said, we're three brothers. We started this in quarantine just as concerned citizens. We, like everybody else, were watching the news. We were frustrated. We were screaming at each other. And at a certain point, we realized, is there anything that could be done about the state of the country? And so we put our minds together, my older brother, Ben, being an attorney who most notably represents Colin Kaepernick and has done a bunch of civil rights cases, my younger brother, who's a marketing expert based out of New York, and me, who I worked for 5 years as a digital editor at the Ellen DeGeneres Show and ran digital media for a sports league. And we said, let's combine those talents and let's do something to impact this election and have our voice be heard. And so we started it as a blog. Meidas Touch started as a blog and quickly evolved into us making these videos, which really just quickly and immediately took off. And that was, it feels like a long time ago, but it's really not. By the time our first video released, it was probably around April 15th. We're now a few months later. We've made over 80 ads against President Trump and for Joe Biden. And we've gained a lot of traction online, and we're just really thankful for the support, and we just hope we're making our small part to help impact democracy and help save it.
That's great, and it is pronounced, or it is spelled rather, more like your last name than the old king. It's MEIDAS touch.com.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so Brett, tell us about the show that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, so the show we're doing is going to be called Meidas Touch Radio. It's airing this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on SiriusXM Progress. We're really excited to be able to connect with fans in a way that we've never done before. I mean, we've built this huge follower base on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, but to be able to be live with the fans, talking to them on Sirius is going to add a whole new dimension to it, and we're excited to talk about the stories of the day, talk about issues on people's minds, and once again, just push forward and try to do what we can. We view the current state of the country as an existential crisis, and we need to get Trump out. I mean, that's priority number one, and we need everybody to join us for that ride.
Brett, we've got a couple of, the two top stories that I was digging into this morning in the first hour were, number one, that Trump yesterday in his press conference said, that this election was going to go to Congress. And that's under the 12th Amendment. This happened in 1876 when the Democrat, Sam Tilden, won both the Electoral College and the popular vote. But he didn't hit the Electoral College threshold to win, even though he had more electoral votes. Today, that would be 270 votes. He didn't hit that number, and so it got thrown to the House of Representatives. In the House of Representatives, under the 12th Amendment, each state has one vote, and that one vote is determined not by the members of the U.S. House of Representatives, even though they cast the vote. It's determined by the House and Senate of the individual states. And a majority of individual states are controlled by Republicans, which means Donald Trump gets reelected. He said that yesterday. And I'm just boggled that nobody's talking about that. That is number one. And then number two, that basically, he seems to be pursuing a herd immunity strategy. They're no longer telling states to even recommend masks. And that is going to kill 6 million Americans. Tom? Yeah, no, I got it. So, Brett, we've just got a minute and a half or so here until we hit the break at the end of the hour. But I'm curious, with those kinds of raw material, how long does it take you guys to produce a video, and how do you decide what to do?
I'll say we have two sort of sets of videos. We have the videos that are hitting sort of bigger picture issues, and then we have the videos that are more rapid response style videos that we're trying to take over the news cycle and take the oxygen out of Trump's news cycle before he gets a chance to spin the narrative and spread disinformation. And so probably one of the best and most recent examples was yesterday. We released a video called One Trick Phony, which covered the exact press conference you're talking about, and it put it side by side with the director of the CDC and his statements, where Trump was saying, oh, yeah, the director of the CDC, he must have been confused. Wearing a mask, I don't know about wearing a mask. Vaccine will probably come super quick. When we have the president of the United States who is spreading that kind of disinformation, that really leads to the deaths of now hundreds of thousands of Americans, and is going to lead to the deaths of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of more, if we pursue this herd immunity / mentality, whatever he wants to call it, way of approaching the virus. We're in big trouble. So I think it's important that we control the narrative and that we get our voices out there, and that we expose the truth about what's going on. I mean, we've never before had a president so willfully try to misinform the American public, and he admitted it himself. And the sad thing is, we were all shocked that he admitted that he knew it back then. He still knows it now. He's still downplaying it to this day. We should be equally as outraged today as we are that he was downplaying the virus back in February.
Yeah, and it sure looks to me like that herd immunity strategy, which, we had a caller earlier who was pointing out that herd immunity was not a thing. I mean, it was a theory that was developed by vaccine manufacturers in the early part of the 20th century, but it's never been demonstrated to work in any natural setting with any natural disease.
Especially because diseases, like we see with the flu, viruses mutate. There's no way for everybody to get this so-called herd immunity. And all it's going to do is, herd immunity is code for I'm giving up. That's basically what Trump's saying.
Well, if you want to play golf and watch Fox News all day, that's what you do, right? You give up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he's doing. I mean, the guy doesn't do much. He sits there, he watches Fox, he plays golf, and he doesn't want to help the American people. He has no plan. He's trying to take away people's health care. He's got to be stopped. We got to vote for Joe Biden.